Peace and power, peace and power. I thank the universal truth and the absolute laws of nature for guiding me, protecting me, and giving me the strength to endure the imperfect. I shall attack with vigor, making progressive moves. A divine mind knows, a divine mind shows. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. All things work in divine order. Salute, salute, peace and power to the people that struggle. What's going on? What's going on? Peace and power. Salute, salute, knife, peace and power. Salute, salute. What's going on? What's going on? Y'all know what it is. Saturday night, book club. Saturday night, Asada Shakur. Saturday night, we get it in. We get it in. As you come in, as you come in, hit the like button. As you come in, share the video. Let the tribe know that we are here. As you know what we are working towards, a path towards liberation, a path towards renaming ourselves, a path, a path to freedom. What's going on? Erie County, salute, salute, salute. Gravedigger, salute, salute, salute. Brown Girl, what's going on? Trav, Palm Beach is in the spotty spot. Ooh, Kelly Mills, what's going on with you? Righteous Supreme Peace, Almighty Peace, how you do? Peace, peace, peace. You come on in. As you come on in. Tamir, what's good? As you come on in, share the video. Share the video. This is what we want. This is what we expect. Share the video. Let the tribe know that we are on tonight. We are here. We are here. All the moderators are here. All alert, all ready. All right? We are all ready. Salute, Brandon. Salute. Salute, Franklin Rich. What up? Salute. Yeah, we here. We live. We live. We getting ready to go in. We getting ready to have a very, very engaging and encouraging Ryan. Salute. Prototype. James Williams, what's up? Yes, hit those likes. As we get it in, chapter 14. Oh yeah, we about to get it in. And we almost completed our first reading of Asada. You know, we will be back. We will be back. You know, we never digest a title one time. CC, what up? Big Worm, what up? Huh? We never read the title one time. No, we digest. We understand. We go back. We go over it, over and over and over until we are a walking manifestation of the truth that was revealed. Until we are a walking manifestation of new ways of being because of anything that we digest on Book Club. That's just what it is. That's just what it has to be. So again, as you come on in, make sure you share. Make sure you let the rest of the tribe know that we here. Make sure you hit the like, moderators, get the Cash App on up in there. We had a very, very tumultuous week. Very tumultuous 2 weeks, right? We have had some people who have transitioned. Right, some of our moderators have lost family members, and we want to send all praise, strength, and love in their direction so they can go through the process of healing, go through the process of grieving, and allowing them to utilize the tribe to do that. So definitely I'll send one of our sister queen comrades, right? Ryan, you make sure y'all send her all the strength, right? That you can muster up, right? Make sure you envelope her. You dig? With everything that you can. We also, one of our other highly generous brother comrades, brother Will Atkins. His mother transitioned, and they just uh, had services for her yesterday. So, and that's after, um, you know, not no more than 100 days after his grandmother, which was his mother's mother, transitioned, you know. So, again, we have a lot going on in our tribe as far as uh, our members, right? Our brethren, our comrades needing that extra boost. So everybody who has that, you understand, who has a little bit left, send them the prayers, the condolences, the strength. You understand? Let them know that they're not alone. That's why I always ask you all, right, to share each other's information. Make sure you have other ways to access the tribe. Be careful. When we say tribe, we mean tribe. Don't just give it out and start having dialogues and conversations with just any old body. But our immediate tribe, it has to be different ways. Emails and other social media platforms, inboxes, DMs, make sure everybody knows that they're not alone. You understand? They're not alone. They can reach out to any of us. All right? That's right. Yes, Marquino. Little. Definitely. Sleep in eternal peace. Yes. You understand? So all of us know that at any given time, unfortunate things happen within us. That's much more deeper than just our usual exchanges and pleasantries and our task and mission that we so focused on as far as liberating, that we're going to have personal struggles that we all going to have to go through. Gotta do it. Have to do it. Okay? Everybody knows that it's always better to have someone who you can reach out to, who's understanding, and who can give you, what you may need at that time. You did? So that's what we here for. Kenny, salute, 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 Kenny Mac. You keep calling me Slim, Kenny Mac. I have a cousin, Kenny, from D.C. All right? I'm telling you, if you cousin Kenny and you from D.C. and you over here, not letting it be known. All right? Let it be known. Cousin Kenny. All right? So again, everybody, hold on. Let me just, this seat is surely not comfortable. Hold on, let me get my situation right. Tisha, what's good? Joelle, salute, salute, salute. Yeah, that's more than y'all were, Kenny Mac. My cousin been calling me Slice or Slim since I was a baby. So, you ride motorcycles, if you ride Harleys, don't be in here playing. All right? I'm starting to hear Karim, I'm starting to hear more young people on the radio in Chicago blaming the previous generation for the rise in gun violence. Well, they can say what they want. They have to lay blame on somewhere. So, as elders, as adults, as people who are here, we do share some responsibility in it, especially when we allow specific language to go unchecked and encourage the behavior that it is. Now, we're still encouraging it by allowing specific events to take place, specific ways of being, specific tools that are utilized against the youth that really have no control over certain systems, right? Because of lack of knowledge, because of lack of access to these institutions, it is on the adults to some degree, right? To secure them and to make sure that these harmful devices do not fall into their hands. You know, you have to bear some responsibility in that. The youth just got here. The youth just got here. And when I say it, I'm serious about it. They just started to learn how to walk good. Going through puberty, they leaking all over themselves. They just starting to figure it out. So at what point does the idea of murder come into their mind? What traumatic effects have taken place that hasn't gone with without some type of intervention around them to help them navigate it? It's on the adults. ATM Tim, salute, salute, salute. Anthony Hill, salute, salute. What's good? Apex, what up, what up? You dig? So they gonna say it. They gonna say it. And what can you do other than meet that challenge? Which is why I move the way I move in this space here. Salute, salute. Thank you, Joel. Again, we ain't trying to get YouTube rich. Send that cash. We definitely ain't trying to get YouTube rich with the bullshit that they've been doing. They've been snatching our dialogues and allowing others to utilize them, you know? Frank, salute, salute. You dig? They've been doing some wild things on YouTube. Boy, y'all just don't understand what's going on in the back end of all this. But yeah, I move in this space the way I move because I'm not just gonna sit here and say anything out my mouth and not expect to be checked. Check my square. You dig? All adults, it is imperative that they know that in these positions, when people come to get their minds sparked, you understand what I'm saying? When people come to feel encouraged, when people need their spirit refilled, that they come to a space where if something doesn't sound right, or if there's something that is put out there and is not understood, that the audience is able to check them, ask for clarity, give pushback. All right? It's the only way it could go down. I mean, others don't do it. I'm not others. You understand? That's it. So again, let's get busy. It's been 2 weeks. Last week was my daughter's birthday, so we missed out. The week before that, it was very hectic. You understand? So we here. Big Ma, salute, salute. We here. And again, man, these hours, days, weeks that pass, there's always another issue. There's always something traumatic going on. There's always something that we need to address as a community, that we need to address as a tribe to keep each other centered, to keep each other solid. And it moves. Believe me, it moves. You know, which is, you know, why I always say we don't have the luxury of bullshitting with time. Excuse me, we just don't. We don't have the luxury of bullshitting with time. All right? Because it's you know, the attacks are coming. Did any of you get to watch before we start the hearings on January 6th? And the new videos that was out and the new information that has been coming out? Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Peace and power, Renegade Revolver. What's up? Mm, mm, mm. Big Ma, be safe doing those deliveries. All right? Boy, oh boy. Isn't it beautiful to watch? I mean, I get a kick out of watching Euros when they fall. Natalie, what's going on? I mean, I just love I get a kick out of that. Big kick out of that shit. Because everything that is being said and everything that is proven, I feel vindicated. Because I always question why our people, why our tribe is so invested in the upkeep of this shit. When it is disgusting, it is just despicable. I question people, I look at people, I can see, right, the sleepiness. You understand? I see it. I see the non-purpose in their being and in their living. Or I see the confusion in believing that you can be inserted in it. Oh my goodness. Man, oh man. It just tickles me. Styles, salute. It tickles me. Definitely. Because shit got to fall. But what are you going to do? Nehemiah, salute. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Nehemiah. Always a supporter. Oh my goodness. And this is our task, to keep each other safe. All of us. Big dog, what up? That is the task. When you come here and you want to question and look for answers, we are here to make sure that we speak to each other in a language that we understand, to make that understanding manifest into the tangible way of living, to keep ourselves protected on our path towards liberation. That is what we do. What is tangible? How do we move? All right? How do we move? We're not here to play. We may chuckle and giggle, you know, but we're not here to play. You understand? Because in that easiness, in that laughter, right? In that smile, in that embracing of each other, we're talking about some heavy shit, serious shit that we're going to need. So it's always put in, always, always. All right? So yeah. And let's get started. We got enough people up in here, you know. Keep sharing the video. You dig? Keep liking it. All right. Salute Styles Washington. Hold on, this place is done. The plane has crashed. Question is, what kind of tools should we be using to move in silence and prepare? The tool is the remaining militancy. Right here. That's the tool that we need to utilize. Because when you use this right here, it activates something in your soul, in your spirit, because that's the only way we know that we're here, right? You have to question, do animals know that they are here, that they are present, or are they just living, right? They're instinctual, so they're living with a purpose. Without a purpose, rather, it's just instinct. They don't understand their purpose, right? The bumblebee may not understand that purpose, that he needs to pollinate and then to the flower and then the trees, right? And then he goes and get eaten up by a bird and they don't know. It's instinctual. Salute, T, what up? That's an instinct, right? But we have a purpose. So when we go through something, we acknowledge something, when we analyze something, we see it. It registers up here, right? But we are not empty. We are filled with emotions and sensations, right? That's what we about. Sensations, emotions. And that again causes new thought. And then that thought has to manifest into a concrete action. Right? So that concrete action is what determines whether or not either as an individual or as groups, we are living. How do we get acknowledged amongst each other or in spite of others without grouping together, without solidness, without uniting? We have to do that. That's where it comes in, yo, soul brother. That's where it comes in, a black consciousness. That's where all that comes in, right? But we have to be careful because we do not exist alone. Even in the most deepest centers of a black consciousness, we lose, all right? We lose when we don't acknowledge others, because there are others, and there are those who appear that they should have a black consciousness, and they don't. I'm telling you, they got some 3 shades darker than me that will laugh at you if you speak about black first, if you speak about a red, black, and green. All right? So don't be surprised. And they have the power to do that. Who are you to say that they don't? The only reason why we get into these exchanges, these dialogues, is because in the grand scope of trying to fit in to what humanity and society has become, we seem to be on the losing end. And you're only on the losing end because you're trying to fit into that. If you're not trying to fit in, then you don't look to them or how they are living for value, for acknowledgement, for praise, for scholarship. So you have to be careful on what is your purpose. You can't say you don't have enough to eat or you're living in poverty if you're not looking over there and trying to check out what that refrigerator is. Understand what you're asking for, because you might already have it. What is our purpose? How do we live? What do we value? All right? Telling you, be very careful. Be very careful when we're speaking certain things, because you can pick up something that you inherited and it is a false doctrine or it's empty rhetoric. All right? And we're bigger than that right here. Okay? We're bigger than that. You have to learn to define you. Learn to define you. And Erie, these are not your people if they're breaking your heart. Why do you call them your people? What is it about them that you're identifying with? What is the connecting piece? Because if they're not building with you, if they're not educating with you, if they're not feeding you holistically and organically, they may not be your people. And anyone who doesn't love you, you damn sure shouldn't love. So they shouldn't have the power to break your heart. They shouldn't have that sympathetic piece that can shatter this. They shouldn't be able to have empathy coming from you that can disturb this. I see melanated people every day and I shake my motherfucking head. And if I had a hammer on me, I'll bang him upside the goddamn temple with it. Be mindful of who we call our people or who's in our tribe, because those very same people will gun you down. They'll throw you in a river of crocodiles and say, see, master, I got that uppity ass nigga for you. All right? We are soldiers. We deal with absolute facts. Scientific warfare. All right? So come on. Y'all got me rambling. Got me talking that talk. Y'all got me talking that talk. I don't want to talk that talk. All right? I want to keep talking that talk. Styles, it be feeling like it's hard to connect out here. Sometimes I know it's plenty and less is more. But sometimes it be looking like we got a lost tribe. Sometimes I be trying to bond with family and friends. They don't be trying to hear it though. Well, they can't hear it. Sometimes their ears is clogged. They can't hear it, right? Because they got the cat shit in their goddamn ears. Got them big fat ear boogers, so they not hearing you. And then when you speak with the eloquence that comes with revolutionary struggle, liberation cause, it sounds womp, womp, womp. You sound like a Charlie Brown adult, right? It's womp, 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 womp. So the connection piece is going to be very difficult. The way things been going, I can't do nothing about it. You can do, you're doing something about it now. You're here energizing your soul. You always, that's the part. You don't have to do big major things. That's why you're disturbed. You're looking for something that you don't have to do. You don't have to do that. It's like, you know, somebody pulling up for a three-pointer when they only down by one. They down by one. You got 5 seconds left. You pulling up for a three-pointer with 4 seconds left when you could probably drive to the fucking basket. Either get foul. You have so many different options. You can get foul going to the hole. You can lay up and go into the hole. You can do a whole bunch of things, but you shot the three. You don't have to always look for the grand, especially when we're dealing with this. Sometimes the most effective thing that you can be is outside of this shit on your own, your damn self. You are the example for you. Because you don't know what others see. You don't know who you influence. You don't know. You don't know the power that you are pushing out. Right? Come on now. Come on now. Don't look for the big all the time. I've seen many people look for the big all the time and end up going for naught. Look at the brother Micah Johnson. He thought he was putting in work. Right? Shot 8 police in Dallas. Bodied them. What was his expectation from that? What was his expectation from that? Because nothing shifted at all. And he got bodied. Where was the political educational piece? Where was the follow-up? Where was the precursor? Nothing, nothing. Doesn't work like that. All things work in divine order. There's an order to things. Don't try to push yourself past the order that has been set for you. I've been realized my blood and A1s was full of shit, and I had nothing to offer them anymore because I don't live among bum shit. It's a blessing. They gone to only see who sees me. Exactly. When them stores stock empty and them trucks stop, it's gonna get dark out here. I've been buying books on planting, survival books, etc. Indeed, no doubt. No doubt. Hey, Miss Matthews, what up, what up? You understand? Boogeyman, salute, salute. Silk, what up? What up, what up? All right, let's get to it, y'all. Boom. Half hour in, let's get to it. 3K, what up? Chapter 14, y'all. Chapter 14, again, let the tribe know we in here. You come in here, you share it to your social media. I want to see all that shit too. I want to see clips and snippets of me all on TikTok and all that other. I don't get to see none of that. Get it out there. Let your tribe know where you are. Get it out there. Do what you do. Make magic. Like I said, I don't own this. I'm just a vessel of truth. I don't own this. There's no ego here. Do what the hell you going to do with it. But get it out. That's what we do here. You dig? Let's go, let's go. Paris, salute, salute. Peace and power. Chapter 14. You're the property of the feds now, one of the marshals told me like he really believed it. We're taking you to MCC, the Federal Prison Manhattan Correctional Center, where you'll stay while you stand trial for bank robbery. It was January 5th, 1976, 15 days after I had been acquitted on the kidnapping charge in Brooklyn Supreme Court. I was still on Rikers Island. He busied himself tying me up with what seemed an endless amount of chains and shackles. Another stupid-looking marshal told me how sorry he was to see me again. He said I'd given him hell the last time. I didn't even recognize him. He said he had worked on the last other bank robbery trial and had gotten chewed out because I got pregnant. You were framed, I told him. He looked at me all dumb, scratching his head. Yeah, that's right. I started to laugh. Even the other marshals started to crack up. It's not so funny, he said. I lost my commendation. That went down in my record. I laughed even harder. And again, I want to point out something. You see how we can make others so important in our existence and our being, and at other times we don't even know them. We don't recognize, we don't see them. We're just in our moment. You see what she said? I didn't even recognize him. But he, because of the information that he received, because of he was in the presence of making sure that she was the enemy and doing whatever he needed to do to her while she was in federal custody, that stayed on his mind several years after. And this is what I'm saying. I tell you all the time, I was beaten by police, walkie-talkies to the head, sticks to the groin, all type of shit. Spit on while I was cuffed, kicked, all type of. So what am I going to do? Keep these individuals' faces fixed in my head? Nah. Not that important to me. It's not personal. They caught up in something, I'm caught up in something. It ain't personal. You didn't take my life. You were playing games, because if it was me on the other side, I'd have damn sure tried to do you something real fucking good. So we have to utilize these lessons as well. People only are giving power or authority by us. Don't let people hold so much in your chest and in your mind. They're not that important. Individuals, groups, don't allow that to consume you the way they're so overconsumed with who we are. It is a weakness, even though it may appear that they're strong, maybe appear that they're winning. It is a weakness when you're overconsumed with individuals. Be overconsumed with who you are, your growth, and where you're going. That's how you build power. That's how you build power. The only way I can describe MCC is modern gray with dabs of color paint here and there. It's one of those ugly inner city fortress buildings, right? Anti-nature, anti-human, and cold to all the senses. There was no fresh air because the entire building was air conditioned, and the only natural light came in from narrow glass slits cut into the side of the building and wired with alarms. The guards looked like space-age robots with blue blazers, gray pants, walkie-talkies, and beepers. After I had been issued the standard uniform for women, a yellow jumpsuit and tennis shoes, I was led up to the women's section. To my absolute surprise, I was placed in general population, given a key to my cage, and told that there was no lock-in time. We were supposed to stand by the cell doors at various times of the day to be counted. The women's section was a relatively small area comprising a central area for eating and recreation, a TV room, and 3 split-level tiers. There were a few offices, 1 or 2 rooms that served as classrooms, and that was it. The only other place the woman could go once in a while was to recreation on the roof, which was covered with a huge metal anti-helicopter bars. All right? So again, I keep explaining that any sentence is a death sentence because you die every day. You die a little every day behind any type of jail, prison, penitentiary, any type of confinement. As you can see, the colors are used, right, for sensory deprivation. So is the close proximity. So is the metal, steel, and concrete. Those are things that are made to dull your senses and to play tricks on your mind, right? Not being able to be with the opposite sex will kill you. Keep telling you. That is why it's done. Lack of sex with your natural partner, lack of intimacy with your natural partner will kill you. Absolute scientific fact. You die a little every day when you are not allowed to engage in the things that make us human beings. So why play games in the street to jeopardize your freedom? The only way you're supposed to ever do that is on a path towards liberation. That's it. That is it. Crime? Crime is beneath you. We are not criminals. We are liberators, revolutionaries. So therefore, no one should be able to sway you into doing any type of criminal activity. No one's supposed to impress you because they're in a life of crime. The hell is that? Trust. Not worth it. After spending more than a month in that confining little place, the women were climbing the walls, and I'm sure the men felt the same way. A few of the federal prisoners were big time with money and connections. They'd been arrested for more quote unquote sophisticated crimes than the average state prisoner, but the majority were poor, black, or third world, just like in the state jails. But just like in the street, money talks. A lot of the men on the honor floor, which was on the same floor as the woman, had money. And rumor had it they would send their favorite guards out to buy them Chinese or Italian food, or send them to the Jewish delicatessen, depending on their mood. One drug dealer one drug dealer made frequent visits to the women's section in the wee small hours for conjugal visits with his wife. Since the men on the honor floor had contact with the women, many tried to buy them by sending them huge quantities of commissary items. Others tried to impress the women with tall tales about how much they had ripped off or how big they were on the street. I was sitting on a bench with this white guy, waiting for them to take me to court one morning, and he was steady talking $1 and $2 million deals he had pulled off. He was some kind of con artist busted for stock fraud. You shouldn't be here, I told him. You should be in the White House with all the other big time con artists. I was trying, he said. I was trying like hell. There were two sisters who I knew from Rikers. I was really happy to see them both. Skeets was a strong stand-up sister who kept her mouth shut, minded her business, and didn't take any shit from anybody. She was a real warm-hearted person, generous and open, and maintained a whole lot of humanity, even though she was facing a hunk of time on a bank robbery case. I was shocked when I ran into Charlie, who I had known on Rikers Island as Charlene. She had changed completely. She was no longer the thin, round-faced young sister I had known on the rock. It was as if she had gained. It was as if she had aged overnight. She had written some dynamite poetry, and had been part of our drama group. But this time she had been arrested for parole violation on a technicality, and it just didn't give a damn about anything anymore. She was bitter and tired, and her whole attitude can be summed up in two words that she frequently used: shove it. She told me that her freedom depended on whether or not she passed a high school equivalency test. Everybody encouraged her to study, but she just didn't seem to care anymore. She said she was tired of jumping through hoops and didn't give a damn what happened. I understood how she felt, but I hated to see her so bitter and so hurt, and nowhere to go with it. Nothing positive to apply it to. I wanted to help her, but I didn't know how, and I was only going to be there for a hot minute. The only thing that perked her up was the struggle the women got into to improve medical care at the jail. And that is a very, very, very common thing that goes on in jail. You find a lot of people that just don't care. I mean, they just get beat up by the conditions, whether it's lack of support on the outside, whether it's the whole dehumanization of the space, and severe disappointment in where they are and how they got there. So, I used to speak to these individuals on a daily basis. To try to make sure that they don't self-harm and stuff like that. And I can imagine what it's like for sisters. The only time I saw sister comrades was when I was going to court in Manhattan, in the Tombs, and I would be in the red ID pen, and they would put us near the women, and to watch them, chained up together, there were about 10 or 12 of them going back and forth to the buses and stuff. It was very triggering for me, and more triggering than when I seen young dudes pass by. When you see the adolescents pass by and you looking in their faces, that was triggering. But when you see the women, oh my goodness. Because I could just imagine what they go through. You can imagine it 10 times worse. A man is able to adjust because we're warriors. So we're used to being captured, prisoners of war and such. Women are not. You rarely get it. So they have to be kind of educated in that format and how to be and not lose themselves in those conditions. So it's a bit much. At the time, the health situation was horrible. Women came in off the street and were giving no physical exam, no tests, no nothing. They had trouble seeing gynecologists and having their most basic needs met, medical or otherwise. Since we were a tiny minority of the prison population, our needs were ignored. The women got together and wrote complaints to the warden. Charlie was one of the women who worked the hardest to get better medical conditions. It's kind of ironic when I think about it. A little more than a year later, I heard over the prison grapevine that Charlene had died from undiagnosed cancer of the uterus. You see? This is how real it is. So, when I see people playing games in the street or in a lifestyle and they don't know what they're facing, you go up in there and you're never guaranteed to come out. Never. Never guarantee you can make it out. So what is your story? What is your story when you're in the street and you get locked up and you go through and then you transition? Nah. We better than that. Everybody's better than that. Everyone is better than that. The Queens Bank robbery trial, which I was here for, was one of the wildest trials I had ever went through. We had just finished with the Brooklyn kidnapping case, and I was not at all looking forward to going to trial again so soon. For almost 3 years now, Evelyn had worked on my cases continuously. She had quit her job as a professor at New York University Law School on the day I was arrested on the turnpike to become my lawyer. One of the few cases she had accepted since my arrest, mostly to earn some money, was ready for trial, and she couldn't postpone it any longer. So I had to get someone else for my trial. Some of the brothers and sisters recommended Stanley Cohen to me. They said he was a good lawyer and would do a good job on this kind of case. I was hesitant because I had always had black lawyers represent me. I felt they would probably be more understanding and more sensitive to the situation I was dealing with. I'm not talking about any old black lawyer because some of them make a whole lot of money and think like Richard Nixon. I'm talking about those who are concerned with the plight of black people. I was especially sensitive to the issue after months of listening to some of the sisters at Rikers. They were so brainwashed, they thought a white lawyer, any white lawyer, was better than a black lawyer. They also felt the same way about white doctors, white dentists, white teachers, etc. I ain't going to court with no black lawyer, they say. I want me a white lawyer who is friendly with the judge and who ain't going what? Judge and ain't going to make him mad. I tried to tell them that it didn't matter what color their lawyer was. If the lawyer went against the judge and really put up a fight for the client, the judge was going to get mad. Few, if any, black defendants have ever been freed because the judge liked their lawyer. If you had a dime for every time a judge and a defense lawyer sat down to lunch and discussed some black client rotting away in jail, you'd be able to stop working and live on the interest. I decided to talk with Cohen and see whether I thought he would be good for the case. Stanley was middle-aged, Jewish, feisty-looking man who somehow reminded me of W.C. Fields. He had a very dramatic streak in him and could change the tone and mood of his voice from indignant to pleading in a matter of seconds. He had a long list of acquittals in his record and told funny stories about the strategies he used in this or that trial. He had once been a member of the Communist Party and continued to have progressive politics. Why do you like being a criminal lawyer? I asked him. How can you stand to fight in the court system knowing how much racism and injustice is involved? It was a loaded question put out there to see how he would answer it. I expected him to say something like somebody had to do it. Somebody had to make the sacrifice. I like to win, he said. I do it because I like to win. I liked him and decided I wanted him to defend me on the bank robbery case. Evelyn gave Stanley the transcripts from the time I was beaten up in court by the U.S. Marshals trying to photograph me, together with all of the other documents in her file, and worked with him on the trial strategy. Andrew Jackson had pled guilty, so I was on trial alone. Everything was rush, rush, rush. The railroad train was whistling, and it could hardly wait to take me up the river. The new judge assigned to the case wanted the case over with, and he wanted it over with fast. We wanted to question the prospective jurors about their opinions, what they had seen and heard in the media, etc. The judge was determined not to have a long voir dire, and so we compromised. A questionnaire was made up asking some of the questions we submitted and others that the prosecutor submitted. After we went through the answers, we were to pick or eliminate jurors, asking additional questions as needed. Some of the answers were so contradictory in such a study on the level of racism in America that it would take a book just to report on them. In 100% of the cases, we were able to tell whether the prospective juror was black, white, or other just by reading the answers. That's crazy, right? And if you don't know what voir dire is, that's when you're picking a jury. Right? That's the process. Right? The questioning and answering and all that. Legal jargon. You know what I'm saying? Legal jargon. Legal jargon. Everybody that's joined us, hello, hello, hello. What's going on? Peace and power, peace and power. Peace and power, peace and power. Salute. You come in, share. Let the tribe know you here. Excuse me. The trial had a lighthearted feel to it. Everyone had kind of decided that we would enjoy the fight and fight as hard as we could without worrying about whether we were going to win or lose. I don't think that there was a single one of us, with a possible exception of Afeni Shakur, who really thought we were going to win. Afeni, who was working as a legal assistant, kept telling me, "We're going to win this one, Asada." But I sure as hell didn't believe it. They had taken a bank picture of a woman robbing a bank, printed my name under it as being positively identified, and then placed that picture in newspapers, subway stations, and I think even on the sides of buses. Now, we've been through 13 and a half, this is chapter 14, 14 and a half chapters, and she just mentioned Afeni, all right? And she mentioned her early on with the Panther 21, but now for those who don't know or didn't know and kept saying, oh, Sada's punk mother was aunt and all that, no. Afeni Shakur is Tupac Shakur's mother. Shakur's were just the family. That was the family name, right? It's like if this was Bliz tribe and everybody had Bliz as the last name, it's the only relation that Asada had Tupac. Not Tupac, but the relationship to Afeni and Tupac Shakur family when it comes to the BLA and Panthers. All right? Okay, so you see what Afeni was doing. He wasn't busting no hammer. All right? Okay? Let's get it straight. Stop the false narratives. All right? Of who she was. And she is right here. Okay? They had this picture posted in every bank in New York. There was not a person in New York who went to the bank, rode the subway, or walked the streets who had not seen that photograph with my name printed under it 1,000 times. There was no way of even counting how many times that picture had been flashed on television with the announcer calling out my name. The public had been so saturated with that image that I felt it was crazy to take this trial seriously. After Stanley was familiar with some of the facts, I had asked him what he thought my chances were. I'd be lying if I told you that they looked good. In reality, they look pretty lousy. But I believe you, and I'm going to fight for you. And believe me, I like to fight. We agreed that I would act as co-counsel on the case. You're a lousy lawyer, he would tell me every time we got into an argument over some strategy. but you're better than a lot of lawyers I know who passed the bar. The atmosphere was electric. The courtroom was packed every day with sisters and brothers who had come to watch the circus. I couldn't stop staring. I have always said that the best thing about being on trial is getting to see and smile at the spectators. Seeing so many beautiful people in the courtroom gave us the push we needed to get down and take care of business. I felt that way during all of my trials, but this trial had an atmosphere that made it even more special. People from all over the black community dropped by. The Muslim sisters and brothers brought their prayer rugs and broke out into prayer in the hallway of the courthouse. People brought their children, explaining what was happening. One little girl broke up the whole courtroom when she asked out loud, "Is that the fastest pig, Mommy?" pointing up at the judge. It was as if black folks had just taken over the courtroom, letting everybody know that they were watching what was going down. The first thing we did was ask for a lineup. That way I had been, the way I had been identified was from a photo. The FBI had selected my photograph from the militant case book. This book contained the photographs of all the militants the FBI wanted to send to prison. After they had gotten my photograph out of the militant case book, they put it in with a few other photographs of women. Of course, mine, a mugshot, was the only one with numbers across the front of it. The rest were normal. The FBI then showed this group of pictures to the robbery witnesses and asked them to identify someone who somewhat resembled or bore a likeness to the woman who robbed the bank. Two of the people who were in the bank signed affidavits saying that the photograph with the numbers across it, my mugshot, looked somewhat like the woman. The rest, who had been in the bank at the time of the robbery, made no such identification. We told the judge we wanted a lineup because we thought the initial identification of me as the bank robber was suggestive and tainted. But before the judge had arranged for the lineup, the prosecutor called one of the so-called witnesses to testify. Since I was the only black woman sitting in the defendant's chair, of course he identified me. We protested the procedure, but the judge admitted his testimony anyway. We finally did arrange for a lineup. And of course, the other so-called witnesses picked out another woman. I gotta stop. I gotta stop right here. Yeah, story time. I went through such a shamble of a trial in Manhattan. I'm not gonna get too deep into it right here. You know what I'm saying? LG, what up? But I'll tell you like this. We had no identification ever for what they said took place with me and my co-defendant. No identification at precinct, nowhere. No show up, none of that. So we were indicted for doing all this recklessness to a bunch of Does. John Doe, Jeffrey Doe, Jane Doe, Jacob Doe, all these Does, because nobody came out of Quad Studios to identify us, to say anything had transpired. All right? They was shook. They just wanted to get home. So we had no identification at the precinct. None at no other portion of this. Nobody ever identified us at all. Definitely didn't have it at no grand jury because nobody went to the grand jury. That's how come the indictments came back as those. They just was haphazardly doing this shit. Counted how many people they said was in there, and that's what they said, right? So, we sitting there during trial. Now, up until this point, through the hearings, the arraignment, everybody said I was the shooter. Me, I was the shooter. Y'all know it was him. That one right there. Blase, blase, blah, all this other shit. Now, the main dude who came to testify and snitch and rat was supposed to be the head of security and manager. So he was a head of security manager for this rap group. And he said that he knows the shooter because the shooter shot right next to him. So, from the witness stand, they asked him, do you identify, or can you identify the shooter? Yeah, I can. And he picks my co-defendant. So now the whole courtroom gasped, like, the jury, even the judge looked at him and was like, so now he know he fucked up. Because he ID'd me as a shooter, which at that time, that was a very big deal in how this case was proceeding. So he made the mistake. The DA tried to cover this shit up. You know how they do, legal charge, Your Honor, da-da-da-da-da. So now it comes to the point of him saying, well, I don't have my glasses on. And they're kind of far away, and this has been some distance since the incident happened. Can I walk over to the table? So now, of course, our team objects. Nah, he can't come over here. Made the identification, got to rock with it. Judge granted this shit. No, he can go over there. Right. So dude gets his glasses, walks over to the table, looks at me, looks at my co-defendant, looks up, said, yeah, nah, him. And ID my co-defendant again. So I'm like, this shit is crazy. So now I'm looking like, wow. Oh shit, this shit is wild. So now the jury don't see this stupid shit. I mean, come on, man. These dudes, that was just one of the big discrepancies of this shit, but never mattered. We still blew trial any goddamn way, but that ID shit is serious, which is a bit troubling for me now because of all the cameras that's everywhere, and these dudes don't even have to go through that. Like, you're a dummy. You on candid camera. You on TV. Like, ain't no ID, but we see you. And that's what these young kids don't get. Like, it's a different time. It's a different element. It's not worth it at all. You dig? So, when she's saying this shit tickle me pink. You know what I'm saying? When, that idea is serious, especially when they allow them to do it in court. Because about 60% of the time back then, IDs wasn't worth shit. That's why they have so many different types. They got photo arrays, precinct identification, show-ups on the scene, all type of. It's a lot. It's just a lot. You have to be very studious when it comes to this legal shit. You have to be. You have to be because it's that should have stressed you out. I'm telling you. If you're not on point with it, and it's just bad that we have to come up knowing it. Anyway, story time over. Let's get back to this. Since the photo identification part of the case was based on nothing more than all niggas look alike, the FBI tried to use scientific evidence to gain a conviction. Their plan to superimpose the bank surveillance photo over my photograph failed because they had only one photo of me that was taken at the same angle as the bank robbery picture. It was one of the photographs taken when they assaulted me in the courtroom before the trial began, when I refused to let them take my picture. The FBI had blocked out the faces and hands of the marshals and the FBI agents choking and assaulting me. They had cropped the picture so that the only thing the jury could see was my face. But my facial expression in the photograph was one of such agony that it was hard for them to convince the jury of anything else. So the FBI came up with a brilliant idea. They brought in some dude from the FBI who said he was an expert on identifying photographs by examining them under a microscope. He was a real pro, slick as grease. He had charts and diagrams and whatnot, and I was worried to death that the jury would go for that crap. He sounded real good until it came time for cross-examination. It turned out that he was a specialist in paleontology and has spent a lot of time studying rocks. He tried to claim that his expertise at examining rocks made him able to identify people. Under cross-examination, all his carefully constructed expertise turned into a pile of rocks, and this new technical breakthrough in crime fighting proved to be nothing but a fraud. Because the prosecution had been allowed to introduce this new scientific evidence, the judge said we had a right to find a photographic expert to rebut the testimony. Since I didn't have a dime, the court agreed to pay for it. The day our photograph expert testified, I slumped down in the seat. He was a real straight-looking white guy who looked like he subscribed to Reader's Digest. Damn, y'all remember Reader's Digest? Y'all remember that? Reader's Digest? Oh, shit. But the guy had credentials in photography a mile long, and you could tell from the way he talked that he loved photography and that he was incensed over what the FBI was trying to do. He explained to the jury the chemical process of photography and that what the FBI agent said was absolutely impossible. He said that if you look at the photograph under a microscope, all you will see is little dots. His testimony was so correct and his facts so together that the prosecutor barely bothered to cross-examine him. The caper came when the manager of the bank came forward to testify in my behalf. He said that I was definitely not the woman who robbed the bank and that the robber was a different height and weight from mine. We could see the prosecutor quietly creep under his table. His last hope was the summation. In his closing statement, he tried to make up for everything he had not proven with the evidence. He painted me as an evil, conniving monster. He told the jury that I was hiding the fact that I had big fat arms like the woman who was shown robbing the bank, that I was concealing my arms because I had not worn a sleeveless dress in court. The trial was held in the middle of January. As he was talking, I politely rolled up my sleeves right there in the courtroom, exposing my very thin arms. When he got to the final part of his closing, he grew strangely confident. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this woman is very clever, very conniving. She has tried to deceive this jury in every way. But she made one mistake, ladies and gentlemen. She made one fatal error. He then held up a picture of the woman robbing the bank, and in the other hand, he held up my mugshot picture. She made one mistake, he kept repeating. She forgot to change her earrings. She has the same earrings on. The prosecutor was so dramatic. The scene was straight out of the movies. You can tell he had been watching The Late Show. Both the woman in the bank and I had on hoop earrings. When Stanley summed up, he just said, "Will all the women in the courtroom who have on hoop earrings please stand up?" Half the women rose to their feet. While the jury was out deliberating, I paced back and forth in the holding pen. "They're going to convict me anyway," I told Afeni. They probably weren't even listening. "That jury isn't going to convict you, Asada," Afeni replied. "Didn't you see the faces of those jurors, especially the black ones?" It was true. I had seen them look at me differently after the truth started coming out, and I knew that the black jurors in the deliberating room would make all the difference in the world. If nothing else, they remind some of the more racist whites that black people are human beings. It's a shame that too many black people try to avoid jury duty instead of trying to slow down the railroad. A lot of times it's a matter of simple economics. Black people often feel they can't afford to sit on a jury, that the money they would lose would mean a sacrifice for their family. And they are probably right. But their sitting on a jury might mean that their neighbor's son or daughter doesn't end up frying in an electric chair or rotting away behind bars. A verdict had been reached. I could tell what it was before we even entered the courtroom. The pigs were upset, to put it mildly. The female guard who escorted me to court every day seemed glad. The jury read the verdict. Acquittal. The courtroom broke into a loud cheer. The judge just gave up calling for order. He had to wait for the shouting to die down. It was a long time coming. All the spectators were jumping around, hugging each other. The marshals led me out of the courtroom and handcuffed me. They brought me back to Rikers Island, where I was put into solitary confinement. And that is the end of chapter 14. We coming back. We on chapter 15. Right? Man, we only have 6 small chapters to go. Yeah, we getting through it. Salute, Jay. Thank you for the donation. Uh-huh. So again, we really all we got. So we have to start acting like it. Have to. You dig? Again, man, listen, thank all y'all for coming to Book Club. Share it. Get it out. Acknowledge it. Go back to previous book clubs. Get your refresher. Get the thoughts and come on. Now is the time. And you are all very powerful. All of you. When we engage like this, when we dialogue like this, when we talk like this, we build each other. We build each other. All right? Again, Don't believe in me. Believe in my belief in you. All things do work in divine order. Let's go figure out what else we're going to do for the night. All right? Stay tapped in. We might have an outspoken tonight. If not, we might be on IG tonight. All right? But again, always remain militant. I love my people. I love my comrades. I love my tribe. You dig? Salute, salute, salute. Y'all know where to find me. Y'all know where to find me and learn how to find